Reprogramming your subconscious mind is one of the most important things that you will ever do when it comes to improving the quality of your life, to expedite your manifestations, and to live from a place of flow and harmoniousness. That is a bold claim, and for good reasons. Stick with me till the end of this video to find out, and I promise you're not gonna be disappointed. One of the fundamental things to understand when it comes to your manifestation journey is that reality is shaped by your worldviews. Why is that? It's because your thoughts lead to feelings, and a combination of your thoughts and feelings is what dictates your actions. Actions take you closer and closer to your manifestations, and then the universe meets you halfway, and you end up manifesting the life that you want. Now, if your worldview is not in alignment with your desires, you're not gonna get very far. Because every time you're about to take action, you'll experience a lot of resistance, which would manifest sometimes as these thought patterns that are going to hold you back, and sometimes as physiological symptoms like anxiety, nervousness. It's just going to make your life a lot harder when it comes to taking actions. And this is why worldview is so key. Now, we come into this world with a clean slate. A baby, when is born, doesn't have a set of ideas about the world. But as it grows up, or as we grow up, we start accumulating ideas from society, from our education system, from our peers, and everywhere. And without us knowing, we accept those patterns, and they get lodged over decades. Now, some of them are helpful, and unfortunately, as it stands, a lot of it is not. I'll give an example from my own life. There was a point in time when I was trying to improve my dating life, which meant going out there and meeting people. And every time I tried to have a conversation with someone, I would run a set of scenarios. For example, how I might end up getting rejected, how people are watching and they're gonna think I'm such a fool for even trying to do that, or I'd make inferences about how women are not friendly, so and they don't appreciate when someone tries to have a conversation with them, so I shouldn't try to talk to them. And inevitably, this would lead to me not having the conversation. And a lot of that would also manifest in other areas of my life. For example, when it came to making new friends. Same idea. People are not friendly, so don't talk to people. That person seems closed off. And then it's funny, growing up, a lot of us end up believing that the world is not a friendly place. Why would you be interested in making friends if you believe that the world is not friendly and people are essentially not good-natured and everyone's out there to get you? Now, the thing is, a lot of these ideas, they have been entrenched over decades and are deeply lodged into the subconscious. So the way it goes is every time you face a particular situation where you need to take action, these ideas hold you back. Sometimes they're conscious. If you are experienced in observing your thoughts and emotions, and if you can make some space in the moment, you'll see these thoughts and emotions rising, and you will recognize the mechanics of it. But if you're not, they might pass by unnoticed in levels below the conscious mind. And oftentimes, they can also be fully unconscious. For example, it could manifest as anxiety, as tightness, and as stress in the body. But once you do a deep analysis as to what's happening, which is a lot of what therapy is about, exploring what core beliefs and assumptions are there, you find out these beliefs about the world. One way to work with all of that is to force your way, to white-knuckle your way, to force yourself to take the action that you need. But the thing is, willpower is very limited, and it only gets you so far. This is why reprogramming your subconscious is extremely crucial. Because let's say you are in a particular situation, be that, when it comes to resolving a conflict with a potential spouse, meeting a potential partner, doing a job interview, or just showing up for your workouts every day. If we had an entirely different set of thoughts coming up, or an entirely different set of core assumptions operating, what you would find is a lot of flow and effortlessness. And the gateway to do that is by reprogramming our subconscious mind and installing a new set of programs that actually moves us towards our manifestations instead of away from it. Most of us are very used to living life through willpower. As we have already mentioned, it's fairly limited, it gets exhausting, and leads to burnout. See, every time you're about to show up for a 10-minute workout, if you have to spend 15 minutes convincing your mind that it is worth it to do the workout, that it's all gonna be worth it in the end, it's important that you do this, or even worse, maybe use some sort of negative narrative like, oh, I am so lazy, I don't want to do this, but I'm just gonna push through because I have been told that I should do that. So basically using low-level emotions like shame and guilt to force yourself to do that. This is something that a lot of us are doing, but it's not very sustainable in the long term. That is not what we want. What we want is flow. We want to experience emotions in the higher spectrum in the scale of emotions as mentioned by Dr. David Hawkins, if you're familiar with his works. If you're not, I'd highly recommend checking out this book called Letting Go, where he talks about this. But yeah, we don't really want to do that. We don't want to keep white knuckling and using tools like shame and guilt to force ourselves to do the things that we need to do. There should be a better way, and there is a better way, and that is to install a new paradigm. Another thing about the conscious mind is it is constantly looking for proof whether your manifestation is here. It always looks to the 3D for validation, and you can see this coming up again and again in your life. You adopt a new workout regimen, and for whatever reason, maybe you have competing priorities, and you show up at the gym for, 3 days a week instead of 4 days a week, and then at the end of the month, once you step on the scale doesn't reflect the weight that you'd ideally like to see on the scale, and you're immediately like, my regimen doesn't work, so I'm gonna give up. And the same thing when it comes to making new connections, be it dating or relationships or business relationships. We have conversations, and a lot of those conversations don't go anywhere, and seemingly anywhere, because the brain doesn't recognize that subtle changes in our being. So we immediately conclude that the process isn't working, and that leads to, again, frustration, and we end up giving up. Vadim Zeland talks a lot about this in his book Reality Transurfing. There is no convincing the conscious mind. It's always gonna be looking out for proof, and here's where it gets tricky. When it comes to any kind of manifestation, whether be it, better health, more money, being more skillful at something, we don't really know when the manifestation is going to come about. We could learn and make some inference as to how long is this going to take, and let's say you are trying to get a certain number of subscribers on YouTube, right? Which is a game we YouTubers play all the time, and it's very easy to get caught in those vanity metrics and then lose sight of why is it that actually we are doing this. In my case, it's to bring value to you guys and to spread these ideas for effortless living and moving towards our manifestations with excitement. So we get caught up in these metrics, and it just gets frustrating. And it's like, why even bother? Give up. We see a lot of this if we pay attention to people around us in our own lives. So we end up giving prematurely. But let's say our mind stopped doing that by some magical means, and and instead of focusing on the results, we could get fully immersed in the process. So we just show up because we now have new paradigms. We know 80% of the results come from just showing up. We don't control when our manifestations are gonna show up, and that's okay because we take pride in the work that we do, and we are appreciative of this opportunity to just show up and to do what we want to do because it's a privilege. Life is a privilege. So if this was the paradigm that was operating, instead of constantly looking for proof that the process is working, which is generally what the conscious mind does, again, showing up would be effortless. And that changes in paradigm is done by, again, reprogramming our subconscious mind. What else? Right. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this notion of faith. I know faith can be a little bit of a triggering subject for a lot of us, especially who don't like this religious connotation that the word has. So let's replace the word faith with a deep sense of conviction. And you know what? Absolutely nothing will move you closer to your manifestation faster than having a deep sense of conviction in the process and in the fact that it can actually happen for you. And the thing is, growing up, a lot of us have been told that how severely limited our potential is. As we go on this journey to develop self-awareness and to recognize the patterns that are operating within us, clearly there comes a point where we realize that we have a lot of paradigms installed that are not really helping us, and then there's this conscious understanding, and as we have already mentioned, these programs have been installed over decades, so it's very hard to get rid of them, and they keep coming up over and over again, and we have to do things consciously to bring the new paradigm over and over to the consciousness. And eventually there comes a point where the paradigm actually is replaced. Just this deep knowing that, yeah, this is the right way to go about this. I know what I think about this is true. I know this is the right worldview. I know this is how I should be. And once you reach that stage of unconscious competence, there's this pure knowing. It's a beautiful place to be in because you don't have to reason and convince your mind that it's not in its best interest to let go of the old paradigms. And you also lose interest in arguing with other people and, like having these conversations, whether this is the right way to manifest or that is the right way to manifest, or which is better, is it the law of attraction or the law of assumption, things like that. It's just this pure knowing, and that frees up a lot of energy, leads to a lot of relaxation and trust, and reaching that level of conviction requires changing our paradigms, and one of the fastest ways to do that is by reprogramming our subconscious minds. Yeah, so those are my thoughts around why I think reprogramming your subconscious mind is one of the most important things that you can do when it comes to your manifestation. I have decided on something that in my videos from now onwards, I would give credits because a lot of the things that I talk about are inspired from thought mentors that I have found on YouTube who have immensely helped me on my journey. This video has been very much inspired by the works of Kazi Zohir and Joseph Rodriguez. Check out their works. I will leave links to their channels in the description. And also, one of the best ways to get started with reprogramming your subconscious mind is to do affirmations and feel them. And in the beginning, it can be very hard because the conscious mind can be very resistant. So every time you say something like, I am very supported in my journey, and let's say you are affirming, what would be another good one? Oh, here's one of my favorite ones. My world takes care of me. So you say something like that and immediately your mind brings a lot of resistance. That could be a real problem. So if that's something that you're struggling with, the way to counter that is to start very small and just start with 5 minutes of affirming a day and get comfortable. When the resistance comes up, you see your body tightening up, relax and release, and try to feel the affirmation. Try to feel the truth in it. Another way to counteract that is to find evidence in support of what you're affirming. So let's say you're affirming that your world takes care of you. Do recognize that it does, because if it didn't, it would be hard for us to survive. So on some level, it actually does. Maybe it's not in big ways that you would want it to yet, but it also does in some level. So entertain those possibilities that there are synchronicities and evidences in your life that does support your affirmations, and soon you'll experience a sense of comfort around your affirmations, and then you would be able to feel them, and then they would energize you and make you full of gratitude, and it would lead to heart-brain coherence and all the sense of warmth and love and being excited by your vision. And as Joseph Rodriguez would say, you would experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, and fulfillment. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I hope you found this helpful. Keep manifesting, keep living the good life, and I'll see you in the next video.